I put in this drain plug from my boat motor because I need to switch this over to water and then back to antifreeze again at some point, because we're going to be going to the track and I want to make it easy. And so draining the radiator fluid from right there makes it a whole lot easier to flush the system. And I drained it there, and then right there's the other one I put in, so that'll make it switching it over a whole lot easier. I still got a low spot on this hose here, but I think I'm gonna add water and cycle it and drain it or something, I don't know. But I got probably 98% of it out, so that's gonna make things a lot easier. So I took my thermostat out. It's a 160, and the reason I did that is because my water pump turns off and on, and so it'll stop circulating the water whenever it gets to whatever I set it for, which is like 160 in the ECU. So the water pump will quit running at 160 and the fans will quit running at 160. That should keep it at above 160. So I feel like this isn't necessary. Drained it again and then put fresh water in it. It's a little less green now. The fans are actually shutting off now, so is the pump. So having less restrictions seems to be okay, but I'll have to wait until I take it for a drive, and a longer drive, and see what happens. So I took it for a test drive, and I tried the trans brake, and I did a data log, and I'm looking at the computer here, and I can't figure out how to figure out what's going on. But I use the trans brake quite a bit to get the data log going, and I think I got it hot. I think I got the transmission fluid hot. I think possibly I might not have enough transmission fluid because the pickup is really high. And I don't know if I'm into the trans brake too long, if it sucks the fluid down and then it runs out of fluid to engage, or what. Because when it's cooled down, if I shut the car off and cool it down and try it again, the trans brake will work. But then if I use it for too long, it stops working. And I got this data log here, and even if I show it on the video, I don't know if anyone's going to be able to see that good enough to give me any tips. That's all the sensors, what they were reading. So I just don't know why. Maybe I should try adding a quart of fluid or something. And like the timing and the fuel, it doesn't want to come into, when I press the button, it doesn't want to come into the trans brake without popping and spattering, and then once I get it going, then it'll work. After I get it above a certain RPM, then it'll start running good. And I tried messing with the timing. To see if I could get it to not do that, and it just made it worse. So I put the timing back where I had it to begin with, because I tried making it lower, making it higher doesn't work, because it's already as high as it should be. It could be probably, but I tried dropping it all the way down to 12 degrees in the areas where the bubble was floating. That didn't help. I think it flooded itself once or twice and died. And so I just don't know what to do. I'm not sure if I could just leave it alone and put it right back where it was and then kind of flutter the pedal until it recovers, and then I'm in the trans brake, and hopefully if I don't have to hold it too long, it'll hold until the light turns green. But I really need to probably maybe try putting a little more fluid in it. Alright, so let's try to understand this a little bit better. So I'm on the trans brake right here. This is this red line. RPMs is 2800. It's like bouncing there. Right there it bounces, and it bounces back and forth for 3200. Here it drops down. There it is, right there. This from here to here, that's when it's in the rev limiter. From there to there, that's 3400 RPMs or 3200 RPMs. It's bouncing off the limiter, right? And let's see, the throttle position is blue. So I was coming into the rev limiter, but I didn't have it floored. And then I floored it. It looks like I probably should have had it on the floor, but I don't, because when I let off the trans brake, it spins the tires. So that's why it's not full throttle till here. Then the RPMs come up. That's first gear, second gear, third gear. And I have it hammered all throughout here because I'm not spinning. But from the moment I let off of the trans brake, I think the tires were spinning here, and then I finally floored it all the way. If I just floor it and put it in the limiter and then I let go of the button, it just roasts the tires. So I think that's why I'm not doing that. But that's now ignition timing. That's this line. That's this line right here. That's the timing. And it's got it at 23 degrees right here. While it's in the rev limiter, it's in the 23 degree range. So I'm not sure how it's limiting it, because the timing isn't jumping around right there. But I thought that's what it did, is jump the timing around when it limits it, but I'm not entirely sure how it works. But right in here is where it's rev limiting, and then I let off the trans brake. I've been sitting for a little while, and the engine is cooled. The key's on, the engine's cooled down. I'm gonna start it and put it in gear. I'm here on the lift, so I'm not gonna try to take off or nothing, but see? Damn it. Damn it. It's a pain in the butt to get it to, get going, but once I get going, I can be in it. And then if the transmission fluid gets hot or low or something, it quits working. So Maybe it needs a little more transmission fluid. Maybe I just need to not get it hot. I don't know what to adjust on the timing, or because it seems like moving the timing around doesn't help. Here's the timing. That's the timing log, actually, versus the vacuum, I believe. And when I'm coming into the trans brake, it's at 18 and 20, and then I don't know, I'm not sure what I'm looking at here for sure, but I tried dropping it to 12 and 10 because I hear that if you're under load, lower timing might help, but I'm not sure if that's true. But it's having a really hard time getting from, wow, that's weird, I didn't know I had a touch screen on my computer. Anyway, it's having a hard time getting from here to down here or over here, anyway, into the 32 degrees without popping, cackling, and dying. So, not sure what to do. Here's an interesting piece of data. This is the AFR. I'll make it disappear. See, that's the AFR right there. Okay. And this is my rev limiter, but this here is before I get into the rev limiter. This is where it's stumbling. My air fuel ratio is jumping all the way up to, that's 20, and then it's going all the way down to 12. So I think maybe right here when I'm trying to give it gas, it's getting too much air and not enough fuel, and it's making it stumble. So I have to get into my settings, and because I think I got it where below a certain RPM it doesn't allow it to adjust the fuel map, and I need to look into that and see if I might need to change where it learns. Okay, so here's the learn. Well, this is the closed loop parameters, and I had this I didn't have it enabled, so I enabled closed loop, and I enabled minimum coolant temperature closed loop to 160, and then I enabled RPM to enter closed loop at 1500, and I'm not sure if that's something I should be doing or not. And then this is the learn parameters. I got it at 15%, and enable learn at 1100. So it should be learning. And then I got enable learn TPS at 0%. So I'm not sure if I need to change that or not. Alright, so I watched a kind of a helpful video on YouTube, and I didn't have this closed loop enabled, and I didn't have this temperature enabled, so I enabled that to 160. And then this is the RPM to enter closed loop 1000. That's my RPM that I idle at, right? So I might need to change that to back to 1100. The enable TPS to enter closed loop at 25% throttle. That way it'll start learning when I give it gas, and it will enable open loop at 0%. So even though I got this set at 1000, if this is set at 0, when I'm not touching it and it's just sitting there idling, it won't change my fuel map. So I can have it at 1000 RPMs with 25% throttle, and it'll start learning. And with it being in the trans brake, it might need to start learning, at 25% or less. and maybe I should bring that down a little bit, but it's not adjusting my fuel table in the areas I need it to, and that's probably why my air-fuel ratio is going all over the place. So I'm gonna try this and see if that helps, and that's in the closed loop parameters, and in the learn parameters, that's something completely different. I got that at a 15% gain, and enable RPMs at 1100 to learn. I probably should change this to 1000, so it'll learn at 1000. Enable TPS to enter learn. I should probably put that at 25%. Okay, and hopefully that'll help. And now I can probably start this thing up, put it in the trans brake, and see if it starts to populate the learn table when I try to go into the trans brake. Okay, I made those changes. Now I'm gonna press this button. Now I'm gonna let go of the button. Pressing the button. See, it's recovering a lot better now. Let go of the button. Press the button. It's still popping, but it ain't dying. Press the button. Let go of the button. Press the button. Oh, I went into it slow, I guess. Alright, I'm going to get into the fuel part and see what happens. Well, it didn't learn anything. Well, now it's at 160, so well, it's working a lot better now, and it's not changing the map, the fuel map, but I'm not sure if it might be changing timing though, because the timing is controlled by the computer. The map is there, but I don't know what's going on, but those changes seem to have helped. Okay, so I figured out how to trigger data logging, which will make it a lot easier to not forget to log. You press logging, then you go to setup, and then I got it on rev limiter 1, condition equal, value 1, and then I saved it, and then I put it on the trans brake and I revved it into the limiter and it started recording. So I could either do that or I could go back in to edit. And I could pick throttle position. There's all kinds of stuff here you can pick if you scroll through. You can pick all kinds of stuff here. So I could pick throttle position whenever it's 100%, but then it would be data logging every time I floor it, and I do that a lot. So Not sure I want it to be doing that. I'm such a dumbass. That's where the fire hydrant hit, and then it hit the wheel. So I backed into it, and right here it's touching. And I thought this got pushed in, but it's free, so it's not messed up. No, I got it jacked up and in neutral. And now it's not rubbing when I spin it. Hear that? I can't tell. I can see daylight now. It don't seem like it's going back and forth. Probably hard to see with me moving the phone all over the place. So I feel like a fucking idiot. I came home. My truck was parked right there with the trailer. I came home from filling up with gas, and I decided to back up and come through this grass right here. I can't really see the fire hydrant for some reason. There's a fire hydrant right there. And I backed up and I didn't see it. I knew it was there, but I forgot it was there. And I backed up and I hit it. And I thought I hit it with the bumper, and it hit kind of hard, but I didn't. I hit right here. So then there's a dent there, and it hit the wheel, and it made it so that the wheel started rubbing right here. I thought this was bent or pushed through the threads, but it wasn't. This spins just fine. So I think this bracket might have moved. When I spin the wheel, it doesn't seem like the axle's bent. So I think this just moved. So hopefully I'll be able to just readjust it. But I'm really disappointed in myself. I caused this damage here, and back here there's some reinforcement crap, so I don't know how I'm gonna get that out, or if I'm even ever gonna try, but jeez. And I got one more day before the race, or the test and tune that I plan on doing. So hopefully I can get this straightened out. Okay, so what I did was I lengthened both of these lower control arms, and then I figured out that when I hit this one here, or one of these, since they go at an angle, they got like opposite leads, so it pulled the rear end that way. So I had to readjust these to get the rear end back in the center, and now it's equal in the fender well on both sides. So I'm gonna take it for a ride and see how it does. Went for a ride, and everything still looks pretty good. It actually it's the same distance here now on both sides, 5/8 of an inch. It does seem like it's closer though on both sides. It's closer than it was before. I got both of these pretty tight, and I'm not sure if I back them off exactly the same, if it might actually bring the tires back away from the fenders right here. And I don't know where I put my angle finder, but I think the drive shaft has got a pretty decent angle to it. So I think I might just leave it. I should probably jack this thing up and put the slicks on just to see if they fit. Okay, so these short ones are 9 1/4. The long ones are 17 3/4. Those are 8 1/2. These are 17 3/4. So after doing those measurements and a little contemplating, I said, well, the rear end was designed to have both the top ones the same length and both the bottom ones the same length. And the bottom ones just happened to be the right length as same as stock, which by some miracle I was able to achieve, because I didn't know that. I didn't know that measurement. Excuse me. And the top ones, they were quite a bit out, so I put them exactly where they're supposed to be, 9 1/4, I believe it was. And then I measured everything that I normally measure, and it's just the same as it was. I mean, they all matched. The thing is square. And so, but the one thing I did gain was right here. I gained a lot. I gained behind the tire a lot on both sides, because moving the top ones out almost like 1.5 inches or something, it moved the tire this way on both sides, and it's still even. I put a board across this tire and sticking out over here, and then I measured from here to the board, and those are within 1/16 of an inch now. I measured from here, and then I went across to a bolt on the A arm, and then I did the same thing on the other side and made an X this time, instead of going straight from here straight to the steering bolt for the steering rack. And that was within 1/16 of an inch. So this thing should be good. And then I also cleaned up a bunch of this tar, and maybe at some point I can get something stuck to that and pop that out. I was kind of thinking it's almost a good thing that happened, even though I got a little dent in the side of my car. It didn't break anything, but it did reveal a problem, because both my control arms were the wrong length on the lower side and the upper side, and this forced me to double check everything, because I would have never got those old control arms out and saw what the stock settings was if this hadn't happened. And I'll bet you my drive shaft comes off a lot easier, and I'll bet you, and I know for a fact that it has more room now to slide back and forth, because the wheels are further away. And I was concerned with that all along, and I don't know why I never came to this conclusion before this happened. But in a way, I'm kind of glad it happened, because now I know I got the rear end right. Another thing I did real quick this morning was I double checked this. I cut this board yesterday, and I got it the perfect length to be right on the edge of the wheel, and then I used this little tool for camber, and it actually does caster too, I think, but I haven't tried to do that yet. But these are, what was the measurement? Like 0.5 out of 0 on both sides, and then the back tires, one's 0.5 and one's 1. So as far as the camber goes, I think that's all right. So I did adjust this a little bit, because this wheel, you could see that it was out after it was aligned, after they aligned it. I don't think that they really even messed with what was up on top of the coilovers. I think they just did the tow and got it to flash green as much as they could, and that's about all they did. I'm not sure they even moved the one from what Older Hawk did. So anyway, so I got the car on the trailer and ready to go. I'm all packed up, and it's still early. It's 1 o'clock. Well, I haven't been on this most of the day. I've been mowing the grass, but anyway, the car is ready to go, and all I got to do is back out and head over to Cordova. 9 a.m. is supposed to be there. I started to notice that my timing map was getting out of hand, so I built another one and I put it in the car and I revved it up, and it seems to be doing good. I got a smoother transition. I didn't the last map I was just locking out at 32 for several lines, and it was popping and cackling again and backfiring, and I can't stand that crap. So I don't know if you're gonna be able to see the timing, but I'll get zoomed in here. This is the top of the map where there's the least amount of vacuum. And then down here, I brought the timing up for idle speed at 3,000 RPMs ish. It's hard to see the whole thing at once because it comes out of focus, but that's what I'm going to start with at the track. In case I had a last minute change, so I wanted to put it in here. And I prepared a few maps that I might try.